I totally had that on mute. And I was trying to figure out going, good morning, everyone. I have no audio. What's going on? Oh, it's just the mute button. Like, okay, we're starting out strong today. This is gonna be a good stream. Um, Black Phoenix, I changed my stream schedule a little bit. I'm going to be doing Tuesday and Thursday mornings also, or I'm adding Thursday rather. So then I can clip them and you totally get a day off on Saturday. I kind of love it, right? So for the stream this Sunday though, we're doing a community stream. I'm having comics and finance on. I am having Nerdy Girl Creates on. I am having in the comment section you may know him as Atomic Stash. I'm trying to think. I don't have my email up, or I would say who else. I've got a couple other people on, right? So that should be super fun. But yeah, we're going to be doing a community stream next weekend. We're going to be doing a big stream for George Perez, and that's going to be super fun. Like nothing even mildly controversial. We're going to bring on Joe Corolla, Comics by Perch, a couple other people, and just talk about good memories of George Perez, right? After that update, I want to make sure we get it in. So, let's take a look at the chat. Good morning, Black Phoenix and Sultan. And the show is put now in a disguise. Good morning, Robert and Anthony and I Oval. I don't know how else to say your name. I'm sorry. Good morning, Sultan. Good morning, Cryptid. So, been very busy. Second grandchild now. Congratulations. That's so awesome. Oh, it's so cute. Good morning, Serious Nas. So we're gonna talk today about this huge controversy, right? So the show came out, and if you guys haven't heard the backstory, I seen the initial advertisement a few days before people really got into it, and it's called Everything's Going to Be All White, right? Okay. So initially, everybody's gonna get triggered, right? It is on Showtime, but the first whole episode, we're gonna go through it a little bit. The first whole episode is on YouTube. Awesome, right? Perfect content. Oh boy, if you don't like political streams, we're gonna get into it. And I fully understand that by the end of this day, this is probably going to be ratioed because, shocker, it wasn't as bad as everyone made it out to be. Right? Like, this isn't my story to tell, but I have no problem listening to other people about it. I went into it like with my cringe radar on. I had a cover up just in case I had to hide my eyes. I had my cat next to me in case I needed, Bane like to go beat up some people. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. It's still totally racist. There are some segments of it that are relatively racist. Yeah, that is for sure. But it's really not that bad. I don't see why people are I see why people are upset of it, right? It's the whole like, oh my god. This is gonna trigger people right away. Right? Fragility? Right? Hey, can you not do that, please? I don't appreciate you jumping on my computer. So they fucking cat. I don't know what this is. They brought up some sort of no, don't do that. Performance overlay. What is I have no idea how to get rid of that. Okay. Um can, can you guys go? Like at some point they got to go. They just got to take a break. Okay, it says Control R. Maybe if I press that. No, I don't want to reload site. Okay, it's just gonna stay up the entire stream. I have no idea what I did. Good morning, Bianca. Good morning, Keely. Is there such thing as black fragility? Oh, I'm sure. I mean, yeah, of course. But what is this? Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can fix whatever the hell they brought up. Open Windows Terminal. No, how about you just close whatever this is? Oh my god. I don't know. They brought up some GPU thing. Okay. We're all fragile. We are all very fragile. But apparently my CPU utilization is at 12%. I have no idea what that means, but thank you, Kitty, for doing that. No. Oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just pressing thing, hoping it work. Okay. We're just gonna stop pressing things because I am going. Freaking cats! Alright. I have no. I show desktop icons. What does that have to do with anything? Okay, so that thing's staying up the entire time. So what I want to do is bring up the actual thing. We're gonna go through it. This is driving me insane. Don't press the red button. I know! I feel bad I'm not reading your guys' text, but I don't know what this thing is that they performance overlay. I've never seen this thing in my life and I don't know how to get rid of it. And apparently the cat knows more about computers than I do because did I just make that blue by pressing something? Nope, I didn't make it blue. I highlighted it. Okay, wait. What's going on? We're not seeing. I know you're not seeing anything because it's got some weird like performance and overlay, and I don't know what the freaking cat did. I guess I'm just gonna have to let it stay up. I know I keep saying that, but it's annoying me. Can I get rid of you? Even when I like right click on it, it doesn't go away. I don't know. Okay, we're just gonna ignore it and I'm gonna probably bitch about it about 10 more times. Just only 10 more times, I promise. That's my limit today, right? People against this aren't outraged. Adults don't get outraged. They just think it's asinine and stupid. People definitely get outraged, right? Like they definitely get outraged on both sides, depending on the situation. But I like when people say that I'm outraged. I think a better way to talk about it is either to say, somebody comes up to you and they're like, "Well, why are you outraged about this?" Like, no, I'm not outraged. I just speak with passion or just speak with conviction. Nah. So we're gonna talk about it. Just have your cat jump on the computer again. Yeah, that might actually work, Kitty. I don't know. In case there's an understandable, I mean, no, there's not. In my opinion, I get why people might be upset just because we're all extremely sensitive, but like, I have no problem listening to anybody's point of view on life, and that's kind of what this is. This is just looking at America through a different scope than what you maybe were born with. Now, of course, it depends on, the person watching it. But me looking at it, I'm just like, I don't care. And I think basically as long as we're sharing in ideas and we're sharing in culture, we should understand, right? This is a left thing, okay? I I maybe I don't think it's a left thing. I think it's a colored thing, right? It's a people want them to know their story. So I don't think it's left thing. There is some liberal politics, I would say, within it, talking about January 6th and stuff and about Trump, but most of it is on skin color, history of black people, whitewashing of history, whitewashing of stuff like Jesus. And it's MLK on steroids. Good morning, ominous. It's because people are blaming white people for the problems. I mean, in America, sometimes that is the fault of white people, not you, not me, but slavery and civil rights were not that long ago, no matter what somebody tries to tell you. I mean, my mother was born during civil rights. My mother, not my grandmother, not my great grandmother. It's our history, and the only, just like we talked about with Moss, right? We can't get rid of our history. We can't. And if we don't know it, and if we pretend it doesn't exist, just like with moss, it is only a detriment to our society. We absolutely have to know every side of the story. And I think this is just another side of the story. Jesus was never whitewashed. Oh, he absolutely was. Technically I'm white. I know, you know what's weird to me is like no matter it seems to have come down to like 3 races at this point, and I don't get it. Like a lot of people, if you're Italian, if you're Irish, if you're even sometimes Egyptian or Muslim, they consider you white. It's a weird thing. And I there's like then there's black and then there's Asian, right? I don't know. The whole thing is very weird to me, and I find it fascinating that people are so quick to say my freedom of speech, but then turn around and be outraged when someone wants to use that and get their story out, right? This is just their story. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Now there is a few asinine things in it. I'm not gonna lie, there is a few things, and there's actually one person that is extremely detrimental and takes the legitimacy of the entire thing down a notch, right? And the person I mean, you may be familiar with them, you may not. His name is Ibram X. Kendi. And there are certain people that want better for the Black community, for their community, for the Hispanic community, for the Muslim community. And then there are people that use that goodwill and profit from it over and over and over again by causing more division. In my personal opinion, Ibram X. Kendi is one of those people that have no problem profiting off of the backs of people that just have goodwill for their society. And he causes a lot of division in the way he goes about a lot of what he says. And most of you guys know, I'm a pacifist. I don't think the way to go about anything is with hostility and condemnation. And unfortunately, that is how he is. So having him in this, I didn't even realize it was him till the very end, but having him in this is extremely, it lowers the respect level, right? The rest of it was okay, but yeah, it is extremely, it's terrible. Like he's just, I just don't care for him. That's my personal opinion. Oh boy, I can see the chat is up in arms. Ah! Okay. So I'm assuming I'm going to lose subscribers today. This should be super fun. I was like, hey, this is a good idea. People are really upset about this and we should talk about it and have a civil conversation. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I can't keep subscribers to save my ass. I'm on the right. And that's totally fine. I would say I'm politically homeless, right? I am fucking politically homeless because they are all hypocrites and I do not like politicians. And I do not like people that divide more than what they actually say. Let's how do we do this here? I don't want to necessarily have to take the chat off. I guess I'm gonna have to. I'll keep an eye on it on my phone because I want to see what you guys are saying, but I also want you to centrist. Yeah, I'm centrist. I would say maybe I don't know. I guess I'm a classic liberal. There we go. That would be a way to put it, right? Even if the trailer gets the appearance of Jesus wrong, so they were European washing Jesus. They whitewashed Jesus. Come on now. Like that's not even up for debate. That's if you look at where he came from in history, and he wasn't blonde hair and blue eyes. He just absolutely wasn't. They actually cover that quite detailed, so we'll get there. I myself, screw the political spectrum. This is my new slogan. Thank you. Oh, wait. Sorry, wrong one. Thank you. That is perfect. I am myself. All right, here we go. We're gonna have to move this over. We're gonna take a look. We're gonna speed it up a little bit. Wrong one. I don't think it's as bad as what you guys are anticipating, nor do I think it's okay that we necessarily erase history, nor do I think it's okay that we justify erasing other people's thoughts and ideas, right?
One white, one not.
Okay, I it's a little bit ahead, but basically he said this is the story of America. One white, or two different Americas, one white and one not.
And of countless dreams too long deferred. We're going to be taking a hard look at white America.
I have it at 1.5.
From the perspective
Let me know
of
if
people
that's
of color.
too fast for you guys.
Many different people of color. And there's no better place to begin than January 6, 2021.
Yep. I'm ready for the triggering. Never heard anyone argue about Jesus' skin color. It's more about gospel. Exactly. And that's what it should be. I've heard a lot of people actually argue about that, unfortunately. I grew up just like everyone else, going to church thinking that Jesus was white, only to realize, wait, there's no fucking way. Are we not like looking at this just geographically? Like, yeah, it should be about the gospel, but it is they say in here it's one of the most I guess one of the most contemplated identities, right? Just because it is Jesus.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
BC leaders preparing for pro-Trump supporters coming back to protest based on false claims of election fraud.
Tens of thousands of the president's supporters came to Washington at his request for a protest that turned into a riot.
She's got a beautiful voice, that's for sure.
Trump wanted a landslide, and they all know it.
I've got a question for you. Is there any person here?
I think that's very fair, Exy Erda. I'm sure I said that wrong. I'm sorry. To me, as a black person, I'm just tired of it being thrown up in people's faces. We cannot do better without picking at the scabs. And I get why people like this does come off, at least the first half of this, as relatively angry. But I get it. Like, I kind of get it, right? Like, people are angry. Yeah, you have every right to be. What's your view on Joe Rogan? Oh, God, fuck Joe Rogan. I don't give a shit about Joe Rogan. I know a lot of people like him, but I've never listened to his podcast, so I'm like, he's not interesting to me. No, I don't really mean fuck Joe Rogan. I don't really care about him. Like, I don't hate Joe Rogan. I don't like Joe Rogan. I nothing Joe Rogan. People have a right to be angry. Yes, absolutely. And I know a lot of people are hearing
that actually thinks that Joe Biden won this election.
I'm going to skip simple reason. Show some of the
happening to your country.
Surely believe that Biden needs to go to prison.
There'll be a war in this country. It's that simple. 80 million Americans are not going to allow their freedom to be taken. It's not going to happen.
Like, that irritates me. Like, you're literally trying to overthrow democracy, and then you're saying 80 million Americans. What about the other half that voted? Right? Like, that lady just rubbed me the wrong way because she's like, we're not going to allow it. So you make up the rules, honey? That's called fascism. Like, you don't get to make up the rules. This is why we live in a democratic society, because each of us get a vote. You don't just get to overthrow.
You may have told yourself some bullshit like, this is not who we are.
We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.
But if you're a person of color, you were probably
Tristan, it was literally super leisurely. It was not super leisurely. Maybe the videos you've seen. I'm not saying it was some crazy fucking thing, but it was
making dinner,
stormed. I watched it live.
Washing your car, or doing some other regular shit, because none of this is new. White folks throw hissy fits every time, and these days, they're feeling fragile as shit.
Yeah, this is so demonetized. Please hit like.
Let me tell you something. White people can burn down a city after the Super Bowl, and they're called unruly fans. White people can riot at the Capitol without fear, but let more than 5 black people gather at a barbecue in the park, and the riot police will roll up on horses like it's the Planet of the Apes.
I think that's a little disingenuous to say, because there was a lot of writing over the summer, right? That not only there was writing, but there was also a lot of protest over the summer, and nobody really had a problem with it. Anyone here think Q is actually real? No.
Everybody needs to stop criticizing.
Joe Rogan says all apes come from Africa. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's so dumb. So this guy kind of does a bit, and he comes back and forth about 4 times. He's the self-insert for white America, right? He does a good job with the role. Nothing against the actor. But it's basically what you'll hear from him are right-wing talking points.
White people, you need to thank us. If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have no cool stuff, like the internet. Facts.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard! You should thank us. We made the internet. What? What, honey? No. No. I'm not gonna play this song. There are gonna be quite a bit I skipped here.
We are African, and we happen to be in America. Our forefathers weren't the pilgrims.
Assume that it means that there are moments in time when people are perhaps disingenuous and don't necessarily tell the truth about something, but it's viewed as something that isn't necessarily a social faux pas and that is not really a bad thing.
A little white lie? Well, I don't believe there's such a thing as a little white lie. I think a lie is a lie. To use.
I mean, I think the only thing I ever heard from Little White Lie was like, okay, so your girlfriend is wearing a dress and her ass looks a little big and you're like, it looks good, honey. Like, that was always my understanding of a Little White Lie. Like, leaving stuff out of history like the Tulsa Race Massacre is not a Little White Lie. That's erasure of, that's revisionist history. I might have been stopped by the police multiple times for walking at night. Oh, I'm sure.
The phrase "a little white lie" means that if
I'm
you
not
tell
gonna
the
lie, I'm
white lie,
terrified
it's better than telling any other kind of lie because it's a white lie. That little white lie could very well be American history.
Exactly.
The biggest lie is that we already know everything we need to know about American history. And I think that one of the definitions of American whiteness is
white lie has nothing to do
not
with skin
knowing
color.
American
Exactly.
history. I'll call it by its name, ignorance.
What is the intent of?
And I think they're equating little white lies with history, and that's not a little white lie. Like I said, a little white lie to me was always like, oh yeah, that new haircut looks good, when really it's a little off and you're not used to it yet. I don't know what it has to do with history. History has been whitewashed, not to really like sugarcoat anything. Yes, it absolutely has. There are things that we should have learned in history that we don't. When you learn about slavery, at least from where I grew up, it was like, oh, slavery bad. This is what happened. This got freed. You know, you learn about the Underground Railroad. You learn the basics, but you don't learn the depravity. And I never learned. I'm not kidding. I never learned about the Tulsa. This is so ignorant of me to even admit, but I never learned about the Tulsa Race Massacre. Ah, this is embarrassing. Until Watchmen. Yeah. Until Watchmen put it in their thing. And I don't think I'm alone in that. I don't think a lot of people knew about that. It was, you know, a relatively black neighborhood that was very upper middle class, right? And at the time, the white people didn't like that. I think they did the same thing in the Bronx and some other places, but I didn't know. And that is my problem. But it's also a serious failing on our schools. Our schools are ridiculous. Like, absolutely ridiculous. Ashley Babbitt was killed on 1/6, so they lied about white people getting killed. Nobody lied about getting killed. Ashley Babbitt tried to go into the Capitol. Like, yeah, it's really sad anybody got killed, but she literally was jumping through a window to go in the Capitol building.
Distorting history.
The intent of distorting history is because if you
Black Wall Street. Thank you. That's what it was. It was rich and people were jealous.
keep people
Human nature. It's terrible.
disempowered and not thinking
I had
that they
no
have any
idea about it,
self-worth,
though.
then they are easier to manipulate. The idea.
I actually really like that, and I think it stands out for a lot of things, right? When you are disempowered without having real information, people are easier to manipulate. People are easier to pin against each other. People are easier to go, look, this person's bad because of A, B, and C. And if you don't know any different, a lot of times you just believe. And if without that information being taught, whether it's in middle school or high school or even, college, but not everybody goes to college, a lot of information that we should have learned, we don't. Why do you think our schools are so far behind so many other countries in so many subjects? Because our schools are where all of this really is the base. Without a good foundation, you're not going to have a good house, right? So the foundation is our children in this society. And without a good educational system, we're fucked, right? Like they're going to grow up easily manipulated. The trailer they use, they did use the worst parts of it in the trailer. One of the most ridiculous things I have ever heard was some African college student tried to make a case that we should erase all white history so we can take credit for everything. No, that is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. It should be American history where everybody, whether it is, the first time we came to this land, we need to learn. You learn about the Trail of Tears and stuff, but you don't actually learn the raping, the desecration of people in their cities. You don't learn what happened. You just learned, hey, we discovered new land. No, bitch, there was people here. We didn't discover it. People were already here.
The idea is that, you make us the enemy. It's all propaganda. It's really just a bunch of white lies.
And so when you talk about the history of white people, you should probably research it the same way you would research a business. Check out the Yelp review, a 1 star, and that is only because you can't do less than 1. To people of color from day one. That's a lot of practice. So it makes perfect sense that white folks rioted at the Capitol because so many still believe the lies about the 2020 election, about the country, about themselves.
I put something up on my community post the other day, and I said, what's the most triggering opinion that you have? Just trying to be funny. I always try to put stuff up there that gets people to interact, right? Or just, lets me know stuff about people. And somebody put Trump won the election. I was just like, oh, God damn it. I should have known this was coming. I walked right into it. Stuff with Moss reminded me how broad strokes and limited in my history classes were. I know. Like, you'll learn a lot from that book. It's pretty amazing. It's all about anti-American hate. Absolutely, this is not about anti-American. This is about a Black person's experience in America. And Bane, what the fuck are you doing? Oh my God. He got into the cat food in the kitchen. Got in the bag and walked the bag over here. Yes, I know I need to take cat food. Now get bent. Go. How did he even manage to do that? That, my dear, takes talent. Sorry I'm late, but I made it. Yay, Hooded Justice made it. The cat pounced. Yeah, exactly. I'm not a Trump lover, but I never believed Biden won the election. I'm not a Trump lover. I'm not a Biden lover. I don't think he's done a lot for us. But I don't think Trump won. I think that the idea that so much hate was propagated towards Trump, not everybody voted because they like Biden. A lot of them voted because they hate Trump, right? And I think that idea is what won the election. Not because Biden was a good candidate, because I think he's very inept in a lot of situations, in most situations, but hate is a hell of a drug, right? Hello, Gary and Miss Mysterious. Thank you, let me get it up here. The Joseph Santos. Here, have $5 towards feeding your cat. Buy him his own Doritos. Oh my God, he loves chips. It's so funny. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Look here how I feel about things. A lot wouldn't have happened in history class. Would just teach more. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Biden hasn't done anything for 40 years. Yeah, exactly. What makes us think he'll do anything now? Like, honestly, what makes us think he'll do anything now? But some people looked at it as the choice of lesser of two evils, right? And like I said, hate won that election. Hate did. Wait, Anna Main, you guys should check him out. He's awesome. Biden, aka Mr. George Floyd's murder was more impactful. He said that. I mean, it was extremely impactful, but I don't know that I would go to that. Ooh. Yes, this was you. It was totally you. Comics are cool that I saw, and I was just like, God, there are not cameras. All of those things were proven false. Oh boy. Until you show me actual evidence. I believe facts and evidence. I don't believe my theories.
Thankfully, there was someone there with a different perspective.
Take one marker.
Tell us who you are.
I'm Melody
This
Cole.
guy was
and I'm a
actually at the
Take us to the Capitol.
January 6th.
Craziest day of my life. Yeah. As we all know by now, the Capitol building was raided, and I somehow managed to be in the middle of it.
That would be scary.
It made me mad thinking about that shit.
How did it
shows
feel?
his camera footage here in a minute.
To be there. It was just so emotional because I couldn't believe that, for one, that this was happening in our country.
We don't need facts and evidence to the opposing side. Yeah, we absolutely do.
When I arrived there, I mean, there were thousands of people hanging over scaffolding, hanging over the towers, climbing the walls.
These are Americans, the flag. Turn that flag up.
I've never in my life seen anything like it ever. People fucking for real going ham. I saw Confederate flags waving all in my face. And there's people screaming, let's go, we're gonna scrub, we're gonna get in there, Nancy Pelosi, and Pence is a traitor, and it was complete fucking chaos.
Oh my goodness. Yes,
Everyone
George
was
Floyd's
fucking
death
angry.
was
Everyone
extremely
wanted
impactful.
answers.
Extremely.
They wanted to know
But
why
to say it
didn't
was
Donald Trump
more
win?
than MLK, that's
It's super important when it comes down to who's telling the history, because
demeaning.
as we've seen
That's the
throughout
word I
history,
will use.
whoever is in power can control the narrative, and you can
Nice
erase
there,
history.
little girl.
So that's why
Oh.
it's important for me as a black man, as a black documentarian, a black
that's
photographer,
his
to go out
footage,
and make
right?
sure that these stories are told from my perspective, whether it's Black Lives Matter and the MAGA movement. They deserve a black person's eye on them, to make sure, that, okay, this is the full story from my perspective.
White folks' lies about history go back centuries. Few more powerful.
He saw Confederate flags. What has science done? Wait, I'm confused. What about BLM burning cities down? Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of that over what would have been the summer of 2020. Oh my God. Why does that feel like it was just yesterday? Oh my goodness. I know a lot of them were peaceful, and I know a lot of people don't want to believe that, but it's because they show the worst on TV. But yeah, there was absolutely that. Absolutely there was. 2020. Oh, thank you. Serious knots. It really does feel like it was yesterday. Oh my goodness.
Powerful than those about Jesus, because you can justify almost anything if God's on your side.
Here's the bit. I don't know anyone that Googles that, but
Thank you, Jesus. That Joe Rogan went to Texas, got the fuck
really
out of LA,
like
and a
this.
fucking liberal, fucking
Right,
elitist
you're-
agenda. Thank you, white Jesus. I know that you never let me down.
there was a time when we could all agree on basic
What?
facts.
What
Still have
the
different
fuck? Who did this? Who did this? No, black Jesus.
And-
No. Black Jesus is in the moving on.
It feels like it's gone, right?
What's that hair? Look at my blue eyes. They're like Jesus's blue eyes. They're like Frankie's
He's
blue
gonna do
eyes.
this
You know,
whole bit.
old
We're
blue
gonna
eyes.
skip
One of
his
the
little
most
bit here.
disputed identities in the world.
And make it your own, prosper.
Like,
and
he
they read
literally goes
scripture
through
in
and
order to
wow,
come away with
and
this. So on one level then, it provides
some
a kind of
white.
theological justification for their behavior. This isn't us being nasty. This is us fulfilling the will of God.
Mr. Urban World, I subscribe to your channel, but it's pretty odd every time I visit your live stream, it's about race. Huh? I haven't done a live stream. Let me look at my old live stream so I'm not crazy here. My last live stream was about Fish's collection, or Fish. Oh my god. Dr. Soup's collection. Then I did the end of the Justice League, the Dark Crisis, Superman. Me and the girls did one about SJWs and anti-SJWs. We did one with Adam Loves Movies. New Comic Book Day. I'm trying to look. I don't think we've ever done one about race. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but 99% of the time, they are about comic books. Yeah, I'm only doing this, and you're right. This is a weird subject for me, right? It's a weird subject for me. I totally agree with you. The only reason I'm doing this is because it was such a big deal. Like, it's all was in my suggested for days, and I'm like, I'm gonna try something different. Did someone say fascist? Well, I'm here now. Besides, every time I personally attend one about race. The last was about Superman's ethnicity. What? Superman's an alien. I've never talked about his ethnicity. I think you have me confused with someone. That's weird. I'm confused. Regardless, so what change is good sometimes. Yeah, that's what I was just trying something different. No, I don't think you're verbally attacking me. No, yeah, it is very odd. You're absolutely right. It is odd. I just thought we'd try something a little different because I saw this was such a big deal, right? And this is the man I was talking about in the beginning. Let me show you. That is, at least in my opinion, a race scripter. He only causes division, not helps the situation. I think if you have a fair criticism about something,
what's the history of the word Caucasian?
You need to
by the
also,
18th century,
at least
you
at some point, try
people
to
who were beginning to engage in a field called taxonomy, in which they were essentially classifying the
like
races
he's very intelligent. I'm not saying that.
And many of these
but a lot of things he said have come
whiteness
off
or rooted
and
white
rubbed me
people
the
in the
wrong
Caucasus Mountains of Europe, and sort of used that to then frame them as Caucasian. And so it was a way
We're living
to really
in Bizarro
reinforce
land, right?
really the origins
So
of whiteness.
it's bad
It was
to
very difficult
whitewash
for people,
Jesus,
for
but
instance,
it's
to believe
okay to
that
blackwash
the origins
Jesus?
of humans
Who's blackwashing
were in Africa.
Jesus?
Africa was being seen more and more as this so-called dark continent, in contrast to the enlightened continent of Europe.
Race doesn't
Africa,
matter.
Africa,
It makes
Africa,
just
Africa, Africa, Africa,
Welcome
Africa
to the
is
right
the
wing.
cradle
The
of
same point was
civilization.
made about
Deal with it,
Starfire, and
baby.
everyone who agreed
So
with
what about
them,
the idea of the construct of race?
Starfire wasn't even.
origins of race
I
as a
know,
construct
like it said, they
was the
said that she was
transatlantic
based
slave
off Naomi
which
Campbell.
was a time in
No,
which
she
you
was
essentially had
not.
European, more
She was
specifically
based off actually I cannot remember her name. A Mexican, beautiful redhead. I cannot remember her name. She was a singer. Kendi is a fraud. See, okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one looking at this. I think having him in here was detrimental to this, right? He comes off very intelligent. He comes off very intelligent. That doesn't mean he is, right? Anybody can come off and play a part, right? Like even Amber Heard. Come on now. But doesn't mean you're actually backing up anything with facts. And not only that, he's extremely divisive. He's not. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He comes off as intelligent, but he just, I don't know. He rubs me the wrong way. Yeah, for sure. That's right. He's a grifter. That's right.
Portuguese
We're
slave
not even
traders.
gonna listen to him.
Having trouble writing a report?
What are some of the biggest white lies in American history?
I do know, for example, that one of the indigenous brothers came up here from South America. I do a lot of work with indigenous communities, and we were at Mount Vernon, and my wife and I were translating what was being said by the guide about George Washington. And at one point, the guide said that George Washington had 300 slaves. And so as we were translating that, this indigenous brother said, he controlled 300 other people? And we said, yes. And he couldn't wrap his head around that concept. The idea that he would have enslaved 300 other people and was using the labor of those people for his benefit alone, in the worldview of this indigenous brother, that is shameful. That is something ridiculous.
A lot of people can't wrap their head around that idea that a lot of these founding fathers were slave owners, that they were, literally racist. That doesn't mean that what they did was bad. That doesn't mean anything. It's just, I think a lot of people have a romanticized view of a lot of history, right? Sometimes it's left out. Sometimes it's not talked about. Most of the time it's not talked about. But he still was a slave owner, right? And when slaves first came over, it wasn't like people just accepted it, right? There was backlash. So he was not part of that backlash.
So these are some of the myths that we venerate. We venerate people who did things that are ghastly, that are unfathomable to people who haven't grown up in this sea of isms. We should not be venerating certain people.
This guy.
Slavery, so long ago.
This
Get
didn't
over it
need to
already.
be in here.
Besides, the Irish people were slaves too. I seen a meme about it, but you don't hear about that though.
I seen a meme about it. This dude just said, I seen a meme about it. What? Oh, come on. They didn't have to put this guy, like, not the actor. I don't mean anything against him, but Leah Chacon or whatever, however you say your name. Yes, thank you, Black Phoenix. This guy must be an actor. He absolutely is, but they, like, I swear they told him, like, please make yourself sound as dumb as possible. So they go through their favorite white people throughout history. We're not going to really go through that. It was just like
for a long time.
Abraham Lincoln, and
I hope it's still okay. You're gonna need a knife. You got a knife?
I've done that.
She graduated. I graduated from the Rhode Island School of Design in 2011.
RISD's pretty fancy.
That's pretty cool. Like, she's 60 years old. She graduated, I think she said when she was 50. That's pretty cool. Like, you went back to school and did that. No, I understand. I have no problem with yours. I'm so confused. Okay. I mean, he's right about slavery thing. It was so long ago. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Like, it was long ago, yeah. But saying something so long ago doesn't mean it shouldn't still be taught. All of these things should be taught and learned and retained.
Yeah.
Did the first settlers in North America arrive with color-based racial biases already baked in?
The 18th century. So by the 19th century, you have people like Ralph Waldo Emerson who can say blithely, oh, Black people, they're just natural slaves.
Sounds really weird at 1.5.
Can you talk about when the value was assigned to whiteness in America?
You started seeing sort of whiteness and white privileges. Even for white indentured servants in the late 1600s, by 1705, you had colonies from New York to Virginia in which, for instance, Black folks couldn't own property, in which Black property was stripped and given to white poor people, in which Black folks couldn't own weapons, and white folks could. And a Black male or a Native male could not engage in romantic relations with a white woman.
I mean, all of which is factually correct, or I wouldn't have him on here. Are we fighting? Maybe. I don't know. You passed the part in which a Black man said that his favorite historical figure is a traitor to the U.S. who fought, because he allowed Black people to fight alongside him for their freedom. He was, what's the issue there? I'm not sure I understand what the issue is. What are we saying? Address it ourselves. Teaching history is fine. Teaching history to blame people on today for the events of the past is absolutely wrong. Yes, absolutely couldn't agree more. I do think there are systems in place that need fixed. There are things that need done. But to blame it today, no. To blame stuff on the Holocaust, no. But it absolutely needs taught in a better circumstance. Not just you spend a month on it in school, right? Like, you need to know the absolute depravity that happened, not only then, but with the Indians. And I think maybe it's just my school. That could very well be, but I don't think so. Schools right now are terrible. And I'm not going to lie. I don't remember learning very much. I don't remember spending a lot of time on it. By the way, Nerdettes Newsstand, just stop the episode there. It's fine. Oh no, why? And Black should not have sold their own race either. No, that didn't happen here. That is, when they first came over, they weren't slaves. They were indentured servants. They were offered something, right? Not that it makes it much better, but then, it took a couple. Oh, shoot. Hold on 1 second, guys. My battery is running low. Give me 1 second. No, don't die on me. I will be right back. I was legitimately just talking to you guys. What is wrong with me today? I did not realize that it was muted. Can everybody hear me now? Jeez, oh Pete. You like the song though? I had to break the attention. I didn't realize I forgot to plug my computer in before I stream. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I'm pretty sure you can, but you learn from the past, not live in the past. Yeah, because if you're constantly looking in the rear view mirror, you're gonna crash, right? If you're constantly looking behind you, you're gonna crash. But you need to look every once in a while. You need to make sure nobody's too close on you, right? Like, yeah, and I think that's extremely fair to say. There's gotta be a way to move forward with also people understanding the anger, but it not encompassing lives without causing division, worse division than there already is, because there is so much. And honestly, this isn't that bad, but it does absolutely, and it will absolutely cause more division, right? Because you're going to have a million channels react to the trailer. For one, the trailer put together the worst parts of all of it. I'm telling you right now, at least from the first episode, the worst parts of all of it. Put that together. You're gonna have people upset about that. And then you're gonna have video after video of, oh my God, it's getting ratioed. Well, yeah, that's a little bit like we talked in the beginning about, the white fragility causing outrage. Yes, we all get mad. And what I mean by white fragility, and I know people are gonna get mad about that, but all I mean by that is like getting mad that you're not represented in this and you're kind of deemed the enemy. Again, causing that division. It's just basically a fucking endless circle of division. And this is not helping. Again, it's not that bad. There's no reason why we can't look at it with an open mind and go, okay, look, this is somebody else's story. I can live through their story vicariously and learn and understand their side of it. Doesn't have to change my side, doesn't have to change my point of view, but it also can make me a little bit more empathetic. And there's nothing wrong with being a little more empathetic, whether it's to anyone. Maybe I just need to stop. Like, I've been the person to try to fix things my whole life, right? I've been the person to try to prevent fights or prevent division. Maybe I just need to start being a bitch about it, but it's just not me. Why are we doing the fentanyl Floyd thing? Like, that's so disrespectful. The way he died was completely inept for, it had nothing to do with it. Looking into somebody's past, that's called cancel culture, and I'm not into that. He died, his murderer was convicted. That's it. There's no reason to keep going and saying all of this stuff about his drug use. Like, why? What the fuck's the point? What are you proving? I'm not being mean, but he's a dead man. Why speak ill of the dead? If that was your father, your brother, your cousin, your uncle, you wouldn't. You absolutely wouldn't. And you wouldn't want anyone else to. And he still has relatives out there. I'm not trying to be mean, but I find it, I won't talk ill of the dead. I just won't. whether they are murdered, which he was, or they pass away of natural causes. That's not in my hands to speak ill of them anymore. All right, let's keep going. Jane Fonda stood up for Black people more than any American person. Didn't Jane Fonda do some like international work too, if I remember correctly? I'm not super familiar. No, they did not say it was an overdose. They absolutely did not say. He would not have been convicted. Why are we doing this? Anyways, let's keep moving.
One of the great and persistent lies is that, well, slavery was just a normal thing back then and everybody did it. No, as soon as the Atlantic slave trade got going in a big way.
Pika. I hope you're not talking about me. I'm not saying anything about anyone once. I'm saying there's a need for reconciliation between people that are so mad about, everything going on and just learning how to have a little empathy. And I think that's maybe why stuff like this needs to come out. I don't know. I'm still kind of torn on it. It does cause division, but we also need to learn empathy. I think the problem with race, discussing race, and when you start with one topic, it strays into all other topics, exposing wounds that everybody didn't heal. Yes. So how do you go about that healing, right? How do you do it?
There arose an anti-slavery movement. There was never unanimity on whether or not this was an okay thing to do. Profitable maybe, but not okay.
Should white people today feel any responsibility for slavery?
Kitty.
Hell yeah. Shit, why fucking not?
See, that was in the trailer. One of the worst parts.
My ancestors never owned any slaves. And if they did, it absolutely has nothing to do with me.
See, typical right-wing talking.
Should white Americans feel any responsibility for slavery? They might not be responsible for slavery, but they're definitely responsible for their actions and the way that they treat other people of color.
Not all of them. I mean, probably white Americans. I mean, are you from Sweden? No, you go ahead and have your day. But if you're in America and you're white, you probably benefited from it, even if you don't know.
The institution.
Sorry, but facts.
Of slavery has just changed shape. It hasn't gone away. Folks are incarcerated and making pennies to produce for companies. That is slavery. They benefit from redlining. They benefit from gentrification. I mean, we are sitting in Bed-Stuy, a predominantly Black neighborhood that has been colonized by white people. Any white person that doesn't see how there's been many iterations to continue to have white people in power just doesn't care. I think that there's a level of dismissal there, and to just say I'm not like my ancestors, it's also just not true.
You know what's so crazy? White people are always telling Black people to get over slavery. But white people have never gotten over losing the Civil War. They're the ones stuck living in the past with their Cracker Barrel asses. It's the same thing with Trump. They still can't accept the fact that his sorry ass lost. Ain't that something?
See, this is what I mean. Like, do you fight fire with fire? There has to be a way to show somebody else's story. Somebody else, how they lived, how they grew up, how they feel about being Black in America without putting that white, I guess for lack of a better term, that ignorant white person in there as a, ploy, without being so, I'm trying to say this in the nicest way possible, without being so confrontational, right? Like, she's clearly mad and I get the anger, but when people feel that anger, they're going to turn off, right? Their minds are going to turn off. And it sucks. And you're allowed to be angry. I'm not saying that. But the unfortunate truth is that if you're trying to educate somebody on a matter of how your story is, and you go about it in that sort of demeaning way, not me, but general audiences will go, nah, bye. Like, just bye. And there's got to be a better way to do it. Like a real way to look at it without being demeaning, I guess is the best way. Let me see here. There's way too many extreme views. There are so many people who deny facts too. Oh yeah, we've seen it already here today. There are problems that need fixing, but extreme tactics don't starve it, nor extreme denial either. Exactly. That's why I said there's got to be. His Terry plus two. What? But there's got to be a way to meet in that middle ground, or is that middle ground completely gone? Like, I don't know. It's a very, very, it's a very, very tricky subject.
People are a trip.
How do you feel about Civil War monuments?
Civil War monuments? I love them. If it's for the North, if they're for the South, nah, I don't care for that. Like, why do we put up statues of someone we defeated in war?
But when people say, but that's my ancestry.
Fuck them. Fuck your ancestry. They were fucking assholes. Deal with that. I mean, we can talk about it, but yeah, bring that statue down. Put up a TCBY yogurt or something. Everybody can get behind.
I have no issue with that. I know a lot of people had issues with like bringing down statues of like Robert E. Lee and shit, but or at least Confederate statues. I don't have an issue, personally. Like, they're a bunch of douches. Why would I want them up? And they lost, so fuck them. But I know people do.
I really became more educated about it when I went to college, and I went to Atlanta, and also you see Confederate flags in Georgia. Because there's Atlanta, and then there's Georgia. I remember one time a truck was trying to come onto campus and deliver stuff. The truck pulled up on campus right at the gate and had a Confederate flag. And students blocked the entry like, nah, you the fuck out of here.
I think that's an awesome story. Like, he's just saying, like, you know, I think he said he was in college, and someone tried to come in with a Confederate flag, and they didn't let him. Like, that's fucking awesome. That shows the greatness in humanity that's still there, I hope. Look at the statues were put up. They were put up let me see. Whenever Black people got rights. You know, tearing down those statues is like erasing history, exactly what people are against. No, it's not erasing history. It's absolutely not erasing history. It's just taking down a statue of a racist. That's all I'm saying.
More else, you're not
I know people have an issue with it. I know I'm the minority on that, you know? But
and that was one of the moments it was really contextualized for me. I started to understand it's a symbol of hate.
That's
you know, because
exactly
like again, we're Americans. This is a symbol that's
they represent
opposite
hate.
the ideas of America.
Bigotry.
And it's crazy because these people muddy that up about heritage, about Southern pride, about history, and it's like, actually all those things are true.
Anyways, I think
those are
Bible
meant
teaches
to
us not to
testify
idolize
to the ongoing importance
sort
of
of
whiteness
thing,
and white
right?
supremacy.
Not that I,
right? They are physical reminders that they
I'm
may have lost the war,
agnostic, but
but they have maintained control. It is a way of signaling without words to Black populations, watch your step, this is still ours.
In my younger years, I didn't really understand the symbolism. It simply wasn't something that was taught to us in school. To me, the Confederate flag was just something painted.
That's actually a really good idea. I want to highlight that. I think we should leave the statues up and put powerful Black leaders right next to them, show the progress we made. I actually think that, compromise. That's a great idea. You know, like, that is a perfect idea. Why not? Why didn't anybody else think of that? I didn't. I'm dumb. Like, I think that's a great idea. Apex, I pissed you off. I knew this was going to happen if I talked about this. Statues have history behind it. Remember what happened. Now some people want to tear down. No, I don't think George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. I don't think so. I'm talking about the Confederates. I don't have an issue with it. To me, it represents this, what we're seeing on the screen right now. Like, and I don't think we need anything more in our country to cause division. Why are white people called white when they have cream pink skin? I don't know. It's a good question.
It on top of the General Lee when I watched the Dukes of Hazzard. It wasn't until I got older and understand these things that I really understood it. Then I became very angry to realize that there were still symbols and monuments of this treasonous act, as it was then, as it is now. There's no other way to put it. These are mementos of racism.
All Confederate monuments should be removed. All monuments to white people who have caused harm should be removed. So yeah, they have to go. The truth has to be told about these folks.
White is a reference to Christianity. I did not know that. Thank you.
Monuments and symbols give heart to the national myth, but racism and colorism permeate America's soul. A truth everyone who comes here sooner or later learns, even if they're white.
I don't get why they
I would never not
want
expect
that.
a white person to be racist against me. You know why? We as brown people and black people forget that white people have been racist against white people. How the fuck are they ever gonna not be racist towards us in a whole? Still racist towards each other. They never kind of really clarified that all the way.
In the
Racist towards, I mean, Bane, can you not, just for an hour, can you not be a dick? White people have been racist towards Irish, towards Jewish people. It is, it's terrible, but it happens.
The
I don't see
19th
that as a
century,
bigger
the
issue
idea
now.
was that there were many white races. And the big immigrant push of the 19th century was of impoverished Irish people. And they were considered members of an inferior white race.
Early Irish immigrants fleeing poverty, famine, and death were vilified by America's Protestants, who despised them for being poor, unskilled, and worst of all, Catholic.
The idea
I
of
had
many
no idea there was
white
even a George
races
Floyd monument.
continued
I'm not
into
gonna
the
lie.
20th century. One of those white races was East European Hebrews, another was Northern Italians, another was Southern Italians. You know, there was a whole raft of them. The Nazis took this to murderous ends. Much of the way that Nazis had been thinking about race either was similar to or drew upon American race theories. And so Americans watching what was going on in Nazi Germany said, no, 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 there's no such thing as a Jewish race. And when there's no such thing as a Jewish race, there's no such thing as a Southern Italian race. So out of the politics and the Nazis, we get a change in the way educated Americans think about race. And so by the 1940s and 50s and 60s,
I am so confused, Alan. If someone is gay, they are not white? What? What? I'm so confused. They could be. I'm confused. Okay, racism is a wait. Let me see here. Racism by definition is prejudice towards a different race. In that context, white on white or black on black is not racism. Yeah, exactly. That's actually a really good point. Racism and generally based on, well, race. They can be assholes to each other. Just like a lot of people go to the whole talking point, well, what about black on black crime? Honey, that's just called crime. Like, it's just crime. Ah. You were thinking white refers to skin. It doesn't. I know you said it. I'll have to look it up after the stream. You know, you said it refers to Christianity, but I don't know much more than that.
60s, we get the idea of just 3 human races, and they're ranked: Caucasoid, Mongoloid, Negroid.
You know, he's a very fair-skinned man, but is he white? The government of the United States of America decided back in the 1940s that somehow anyone from the Levant, so if you're Jordanian, Palestinian, you're from Lebanon, you're from Iraq, you're from Yemen, you're from the North African region, which would include Egypt and Morocco, we are white, according to them. And so for us, we're not white. As a Palestinian, I mean, I fit these different categories. It's almost like every United States of America.
Solid, biological, unchanged country, as in the later part of the 20th century, a racial identity and an ethnic identity. And the ethnic identity has to do with, quote unquote, Hispanics, whom were not part of this sort of ranking and taxonomy of the American population 100 years earlier.
My earliest memories of racism were seeing how people interacted with my father, who was Afro-Peruvian. And my father would be doing the yard work, and the white neighbors would complain at him, saying that he was...
Racism is losing the meaning, just like SJW and woke. Yes, absolutely. I seen someone call her an anti-Semite. I'm maybe I just don't know about her, but I don't know anything about her. Joe Biden and the Democrats are true racists. Oof. Extreme. No. I do believe Joe Biden is. He said some terrible things, but that was also long ago, so I don't know necessarily that I can hold it against him now. People need to remember the Democrats were the one who owned slaves. Republican freed and abolished the slavery. Right, Republicans still own slaves too. Like, that's kind of unfair to say. I think extreme, what's the way to put it? If you make an extreme statement, you need really good evidence. And I don't think you can hyperbolize it that way. I think you got to look at the individual. Do I believe Joe Biden is? Yeah, he's dumb. Yeah, probably. Yeah. But when it comes to all of the Democrats, no, I know a lot of good Democrats. I know a lot of good Republican. So I think you got to look at the individual. Okay. Thank you, her name is Linda Sorsor. She is an Okay, well, again, another person they shouldn't have used. That's what the issue with this is. And the issue is they're using people that maybe have monetary or political means and reasons to be in this. And that's why I said you need to have a story where you're not so confrontational and you're telling real people's story, not people that have a political motive, right? And then you can learn, and then you can, teach empathy. But you can't do it with something like this, right? Whoopi Goldberg is a Jewish name. Yeah, she took a Jewish person's name and her real name's Karen. Isn't that funny? Her real name's Karen. I love it. I love it. All right,
was
we're
washing
gonna
his car
skip through this a little bit.
Man only mistreated my father because of the melanin in his skin, but also because he was an immigrant.
My parents weren't necessarily the types of South Asians you see now coming to America on these fancy visas for
Does
computer
anybody else
programming
think
or
he
things like
sounds
that.
like a
I grew
robot?
up thinking black people were black people, Spanish people were Spanish people, white people were Americans. It was aspirational. We came to America, we saw that white people were successful, we wanted to be like them. But culturally, I felt more akin with Latinos and black people because white didn't feel natural to me. So from us, do not get too American. Americans love sex and drugs and these things we don't do that. And just don't lose sight of what your real culture is.
Illegal aliens come to this country and immediately they get free stuff. You know where that money should go? To homeless veterans.
There's been homeless veterans in the United States since the
See what
Civil
I mean
War.
about being
So stop pretending like you care about the military. Just admit you don't like foreigners, especially the dark ones.
Like, there's no need to be that fucking
The American system does not see
confrontational.
black people as full and
Educational,
whole
maybe.
Americans. I think we're still others for a lot of people when they think about who is an American and, for that matter, who deserves to have access to what the American dream is, however you want to quantify that. It's often not us.
I don't see the point in being that. No, the modern Democratic are not all far left. You gotta think about the normies, right? What you're thinking about is the vocal minority, the 2%. Hush, get bent. Sorry, that was loud. You gotta think of the actual people. The people like, maybe your grandma, your grandpa, your coworker. Those are just normal people. They're not on Twitter mad about, I don't know, the flavor of the day, right? And you have that on both sides, unfortunately. People are mad about this on the right. People are mad about this on the left. Like, it's just a never-ending fucking game. There is a solution to all of this. All of this, like, hyperbole and lack of empathy and apathy. Okay, that's the same thing. Get off Twitter. Like, it's terrible. Saying that the Democratic Party is far left is about erasing nuance. Exactly. And you see so many people going, wow, another feminist, another lefty, another this, another that. It's just a game of hyperbole. Once you play that game, once you start blaming, like, I was editing a video for Saturday yesterday, and I said something about Comicsgate, and I don't like them. But even I made sure to say, not everyone, right? You can't use hyperbole and expect to not get results of division. You just can't. The extremes are such a small minority that they likely don't even affect the voter pool, right? They may get an article on them every once in a while, or maybe get on trending or whatever is going on, but it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Play.
Do you think the American system sees us as Americans?
That's a loaded question. Like, I feel like there's times where you can feel great about America, there's times you can feel bad about America. And I think if you're like educated about it, or if you're just in tune with your experiences, ain't too many myths. You kind of like see the other side. Like, you live in the light and you live in the shadows. You can see that shit. But if you're asking if we can access all the things in America, like, very clearly not. Like, no.
And I think that's fair. I think there are things, and I wouldn't say for everyone. I would say the right has this thinking of pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Sometimes that's impossible. There are systems in place to keep people down. The prison system is one of them. Like, if you're going to jail, I mean, I know a lot of it's changed now. to America's credit, because drugs should not be illegal, for one, but weed especially, right? If you're going to jail for 5 years for having a plant, like that, they use it as free labor. And that's the unfortunate truth. And like stuff with like crack being introduced, right? There are systems in place, whether you like it or not, to keep Black people down. And there's got to be a way to break that barrier down in order to help. Now, there are social welfare systems and there are stuff like that. But if you're starting at the very fucking bottom, it's a lot harder to get to the top than if you start at the middle. And it sucks. But fuck AOC. Yeah. Right on. I don't know much about AOC, but she's weird.
I definitely identify as an American. This is all I know, is being an American. But I do know that I'm often challenged with America, right? The issue for me is not the nationality, it's the culture.
That's why I think being American is like not only being a person who wants freedom and liberty, but somebody who fights for freedom and liberty for others.
Has America always lived up to that?
Hell no. America's not always lived up to that, but neither have I. I mean, nothing's
I love that. No, America hasn't always lived up to that, but neither have I. Every single one of us is so far from perfect. Nay, nay, nay. Thank you very much. Like this idea of using the episode in comment. Oh, wow. Thank you. I thought maybe because it was political, you wouldn't like it, but thank you. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. No one has literally pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. That was no one can literally, of course, but I was just meaning like the saying, right? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Of course you can't, but like, oh, isn't that what AOC said? Like, you can't literally do it. I'm pretty sure she did. I think I just walked into a trap. I like what he said, though. You know, like, no, America's not fucking perfect, and you're not anti-American for criticizing it. But none of us are perfect either. And we are not above criticism either. I think that's a good way of saying it.
Perfect. Right. I mean, we can get better, though. I'm trying. Why can't the country?
But first, white people have to stop lying about having an advantage.
It's going to talk about white privilege.
I've had those conversations. Maybe like 6 years ago, it was an easier conversation. And today,
I know this makes people
I think
mad.
willful ignorance and obstinance is a big factor today.
People who are, not well off to say, I don't have any privilege, what are you talking about? And what they don't understand is that it's them being given the benefit of the doubt in everything. The benefit.
The funny thing is, there was just a really good example of this in New Jersey. This fight went viral, right? And there was, he actually turned out to be Mexican, but he looked white. He was white passing. And he was on the top just beating the these kids were 14, mind you, beating the hell out of a black boy. The cops rush in and they put the black kid in cuffs. And it's ridiculous. And the kid even said, aren't I supposed to be in cuffs? They just said, sit down, sit down, sit down. What? That's what they're talking about.
Of having their full humanity always seen. The benefit of the fact that when they walk into a room, especially in a professional setting, people aren't playing that game and wondering how they got there. That happens to us no matter how many degrees we have behind us, no matter what our resume says.
That
people
would be
still trying to
very
figure
hard.
out how we got there. There is a belief that their lives and their value, that they're worth something.
New Jersey,
that is part of the
Pika.
privilege of being white, is always being valued.
The Amazing Lucas did a video on it yesterday.
What annoys you about white people?
I think what annoys me most about white people is the feigned ignorance that their whiteness is not a problem for everybody else. Like, you know that everybody else is not getting what you get, and why are you acting brand new? It's when they pretend like they're the victim. That's when I can't take it. What's also annoying is when they kill us. That's annoying.
See,
White
that was
fragility
another part that was in the trailer. Another part that it's like, okay, I get it, you're angry, but the confrontational thing, right? Left in the joint. Wait, what? Ryan Upchurch went from trailer under a bridge to a multi-millionaire. Yeah, YouTube's a great thing. I do know that name. He's a rapper. Same with Tom McDonald, but Tom McDonald fucking lost it. I used to really like Tom McDonald, but God, I can't even listen to him anymore. It went from like amazing music about life and liberty, and now it's like everything is political and fake woke and blah, 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 blah. Like, shut up. I get it. You're making money, but fuck. You used to have talent. Like, come on.
Is crying because you were accused of racism versus acting on challenging yourself to be not racist. White woman. Thank goodness that we came up with Karens.
What makes you think that it had anything to do with race? If you look, go look at the video. It's very clear. The kid was on the ground getting his ass beat. You can't do that. I don't see color bullshit because you won't ever fix anything.
So we can finally say, hey, you, this is a unique form of white bullshit that white women are employing.
Just not
I hear you have a problem with these gentlemen having a barbecue here at the lake. What's going on?
It's illegal to have a
So basically, they're gonna go through these like
right, and that's the part where I'm like,
white
nah.
Karen bullshit.
Of a white person. Different time, different technology, same outcome.
I like this part though. This is cute. 3
God,
iconic Karen looks. We have the typical one. The Scarlet. She looks cute there. I like it.
Look at this shit.
Forget what they call this one. That one was more about Emmett Till. Yeah, but the Karen thing, I don't get why that is brought up in here. Like, Karen, unless I'm maybe ignorant of the situation, but when did the name, like the pejorative Karen, ever have to do with race? It was just like an entitled asshole, right? Like, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong, but please back Thin Blue Line by Mike Barron on Indiegogo. If that's your shtick, Ken is a male Karen. That's what I'm going to use from now on. I had no idea.
Oh my God, Karen Duff, Lulu Coop.
Yeah, and then they do like this one. I didn't know it ever had to do anything with race, though. I thought it was
abrasive.
like
It's aggressive.
more of just being
What is
a
fragile
fucking
about whiteness?
dick. But a
when
lot of
everything has
times
been
it does
constructed
happen
around
to
it.
black people. That's
What floor under you are you worried about?
they had that one. That was actually a Marvel editor, if I remember correctly.
Being taken away.
Please call the cops.
I'm gonna tell them there's an African American man.
This is the one.
Please tell them whatever you like.
Well, you know, when you're the black guy who's
He actually
birdwatching
wrote a
and all of a
book,
sudden
comic
some
book
woman
about it
who's
for
with
DC
the dog
called. Well, it
starts
was the
getting
first
loud, I
Represent.
guess, is the point that you're making, but getting loud over something that's very fragile, something.
But isn't the experience of blackness or brownness more fragile inherently when the whole structures around you are built to take it down? Like, I'm the one walking on eggshells. What's fragile about being white? You are walking on eggshells
got
now
her
because
dog taken
you might
away
get put on a phone and
temporarily.
people,
Isn't that
you know,
crazy?
cancel you.
In the days after the video was shared, Amy Cooper lost her job and temporarily lost custody of her dog.
That's like a
She's
relatively new thing when the whole
choking it.
experience
I
of
wanna
brownness
go
and
get
blackness is
the
those eggshells because
dog.
everything around you can be taken away
bitch.
in any second.
Like, I do get that.
I was
it
on the subway,
happens
and this black
more.
woman, she was yelling at her kid, and I remember just like a sight.
I
and
do
it's,
get
I
it
don't-
that it
I'm being
happens
judgmental
more
when I
to
say this.
black
Remember,
and
the
brown
kid is
people,
like, she's
but
just
I
screaming
always
on the phone,
thought Karen was
motherfucking
more
shit,
about
and I'm
like
feeling
being just
she's
straight up
bad,
asshole.
And
Entitlement.
I felt embarrassed at the same time. I was mad at her and embarrassed. You know, I was
Embarrassed as a black person.
Yeah. And I talked to
Wearing
like
a
coworker that was
mask
on the train with. I was
outside,
like,
that's a
do
liberal.
you have that? If I see another
Wait.
black person and they're doing something I think is like kind of fucked
I'm
up.
pretty sure that happened right at the beginning of the pandemic. I'm sure that's why. I mean, I don't doubt that. I don't know her political affiliation, but I do think I remember that was quite a while ago.
They're fucked up. I feel that connection to him. Like I feel like sad for him, or mad at them, or I want to help them, or even sometimes I want them to get the fuck away from me, and I feel a sense of guilt wanting them to get the fuck away from me. And I'm like, do you have that? He's like, nah. And I didn't understand it. How come white people don't feel that? And I'm like, oh, because white is made the fuck up. It's like when you see what they're calling as Karens, like you're Clark Kent, someone, you don't like the way someone's going, you turn into fucking Superman, but you don't even have to change your fucking outfit. You know, you don't go in the telephone booth, you just show up and you decide when you are. Sometimes it happens in a moment, and then the cops come.
He's telling a story, right? And his story, in essence, is don't say anything. I can't watch it till later. Don't say anything. Please, 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 please. Okay. What he's saying is he saw a black woman on the subway with her kids, and she was just being a bad mom, right? She wasn't listening. She was yelling. The kid was yelling back. And he almost like felt that guilt of like, get away from me, like cringe. Like he felt a connection, but he felt bad for looking down upon it. And then he said, white people don't have that because whiteness is made up. I'm not sure I understand that. Because if I see somebody that's being, whether they're white or black or anything, that's being a terrible person, let's be real. Like, we all judge a little bit. Unfortunately, even if you're the nicest person, you're going to judge a little bit, right? You're going to be like, oh, I feel bad for that mom. You know, she's going through a lot. Or, you know, I feel bad for that kid. The mom's pissy. Or you're going to judge a little bit. So I'm not sure I quite understand what he means here. Unless he's saying, like, the draw is them being the same race. But I think that's more of a human connection. I don't know. Called commies. You're more embarrassed. Okay. The weird thing to me here is that you went to commies instead of white supremacists. I'm not going to lie. Especially with how many have shown up in the last few days. That's a bias because white people get grilled with their kids in public. I don't know. How can you explain that whiteness is made up? Maybe, like I said, I'm going to play the ignorant card here. I would love for you to explain that. This is designed to create division, and I'm falling for it. I'm not falling for anything. I'm talking about it. I've literally said a bunch of times that it is divisive, but it's also fair to let everybody tell their story. I think there's a better format of doing so.
You know, and you're Lois Lane falling out of a building, and it's like, it's insane. And we're watching it on camera. Literally, people shift characters like a one-person stage show. And I'm like, damn, that's a superpower whiteness.
It's part of the identity of whiteness not to have a racial identity.
Oh, there we go.
To
okay.
be.
Hold on. See, that's. I don't like that. I don't get that. European cultures were not commonly unified before the founding of America in the same way as blackness or Latino were seen as unified historically. Okay, just look at the history of war. I understand what you're saying. I do. Is it weird to almost wish to have something like that? Like, be able to be proud of my heritage? Because I don't feel that. And that's probably my family's fault. But like, I don't know a lot of my heritage. Like, I don't know. Like, so if that's the case, am I just supposed to, why are you guys being arbitrary? Does not mean it's not useful. Well, Alan plays the gay card. Be nice to Alan. What happened? So what do you do then? What do you just feel you're not wrong to say, so what? And just be yourself. I do it. Okay, I get that. I think it's weird to not have that pride. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of wish I did. I don't know. It's a weird thing.
An autonomous individual, to be only responsible for yourself. If there were anything that I wish Black people could succeed in teaching Americans in general, it's the sense of solidarity, of belonging to something larger than yourself.
I like that, lady, but like, I don't feel that. Maybe it's because there's no solidarity in America right now. Maybe I should be proud to be an American, and I'm not saying I'm not, but like, maybe that's the solidarity I'm supposed to have, but because everybody is so fucking hateful anymore, I don't have it. Like, you can go to my videos that are even about comics, and it's like, oh, those commies, oh, those Nazis. Like, it's just, everybody is hateful.
America. Apple pie, Chevrolet, America. Steel toe boots, look for new recruits. America. People complain about this country, but it's the best damn country in the world. America. America. America, America, America.
When you see the American flag now, how do you feel?
Well, I don't get away when I see a whole bunch of white people with American flag. First of all, it's not just American flag. They got like shirts and, you know, shorts, jorts made out the flag. And they say everybody else disrespect the flag, but you got jorts. That ain't disrespectful. The flags are on your crotch.
Yo, I know you brothers like to wear Timbos with your short.
Why are you doing this? It's so
from head to toe. I'm the real Captain America,
I just
motherfucker.
died.
Don't tread on me, Holmes. Fucking America, you don't like it, leave it. Get the
I
fuck
hate
out.
when people say that. You're not allowed to criticize America. Leave. Shut up. I'm not leaving. I'm allowed to try to want things to be better. So dumb.
I got a serious fucking crew behind me. Be a winner. America. Fuck with me. Go ahead. We only fucks with winners.
Every time I look at the flag, I feel mistrust. I don't trust it. Especially now.
I don't feel mistrust.
Whenever you like drive by somebody's house and they got the American flag, I'm like
there's no greater feeling than being at like, as far as like, is that Tommy? Oh my God. Oh my God. This is the comment of the day. I gotta find it. I love it. Tom McDonald has become so cringe. Oh my God. That's so great. What white supremacists are you talking about? Are you kidding me? They literally just showed up in New Jersey and made a big stink. They literally just showed up in Florida and made a big stink. They're not invisible, honey. You're just watching right-handed news and they won't ever show it. You gotta. I think the best practice of self is to listen to opposing views. Because once you listen to opposing views, you can learn. Bye, Serious Nas. Thank you for stopping by. Once you listen to opposing views and stuff you maybe are uncomfortable hearing, then, like I said, you can learn to hear other people's stories. You can learn other people's lived experience because we can't do that. You know, living in BFE, you can't do that. But you got to learn to be empathetic. And in listening to Fox News all day is not healthy. You gotta listen to everything. They hate the flag in America. That's anti-American. No, it's not. But if you listen, you might change your mind. That would be bad. No, I don't think so unless you're wishy-washy on your views. I think had I not doing something very similar, I would still get what's going on? Alan, you like kids. Don't be mean. I think I would have missed out on a lot. I would have missed out on a lot of information that helped me become who I want to be, right? Documentary is boring. I don't think I'll be watching the other. I don't blame you. I think they need to do something more, like I said, just something that makes you want to empathize, not makes you want to turn it off, right?
they voted for Trump. And that's messed up. Like, and I'm going to be real about that. Like, that think.
The funny thing about that is, even like UPS people or USPS people will say, if they're going to steal a package or something like that, they won't do it on people's that have like flags or Trump signs. They are more likely to have guns, so they'll go to the others. That's so messed up, right? But like, it's true. Wait, what? Amanda the Panda dances with her hands up. Does she really? Well, that is freaking awesome. Thank you, Pika Leaf. I feel like I need to know more about this, Amanda. Does she do ballet? Does she do jazz? She do like like the crip walk or something? I need to know. Thank you so much. Gotta bounce. Thank you for stopping by. Good fella. Good movie too. I think I've seen that movie 100 times probably.
The head goes into that direction. That's what the white supremacists are waving around. That's what Donald Trump, he holds on to it. That's not a flag that I want to be identified with. That's not me.
That's weird.
White people created it. That's their flag.
Not gonna lie,
Yeah,
that's
so it's
weird.
I don't trust it.
And so, on January 6, 2021, inspired by a distorted view of history, emboldened by the presumption of privilege, and terrified at the prospect of a more colorful America, a lot of angry white folk laid siege to the nation's capital.
I don't think that's true. Not all of it. Hey, I got a new member. Thank you, Joseph. I so appreciate it. Thank you. So I don't think that's everyone. I think, like they said earlier, right? You can manipulate. The people in power manipulate. And that's what Trump was very good at. Very good at. Now I'm a believer. Hell, yay! But yes, I think it was a lot of manipulation. The stop the steal bullshit was bullshit. There's been audits upon audits, and this is the theme of my channel. Thank you. So I Oval. That's what I'm just gonna call you I Oval. And I think that you didn't read my past comment. What did I miss? Let me see. Thomas. I'm looking. Is it way up there? Here we go. Sorry, I missed it. America is used to create wealth and luxury, but not to build and raise a family. Japan and Germany are better countries and more respectful to Black people. Shame on the US. Yeah. Wealth and luxury has been so much more created with, think about this pandemic. It was a perfect way to embolden companies like Amazon and streaming services. Everybody was stuck at home. The wealth all went right to the top. Mom and pop shops, the places that open, grocery stores and comic books, they all suffered. The only place that did good during the last couple of years was huge companies. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I know China is super racist towards Black people, but the way that we treat people needs to change. There's no doubt about that. If they want POC, POV, why don't they talk to a Republican POC? I think someone in the beginning said that they were Republican or said that they were more conservative. I don't remember which one it was. I don't know who they would talk to. I'm trying to think of anybody that is worth talking to. That's so bad. Oh my God. Cause I'm not gonna lie. I saw Tatum's video on this and it was fucking gross. It was fucking gross. Oh my God. I can't. Oh, I can't with that dude. He's so fucking ridiculous. My gay Latino friend was at the Capitol too. And in his video and selfie, there were a lot of POCs. Leftist videos never reflect that. Oh, well, yeah, of course. I mean, they're going to put their bias out there. That's why I'm saying, you got to take it at face value, right? You got to take it at face value. They are empty-headed mouthpieces. Yeah, and then they become like that tap dancing. Da-da-da-da-da, look. Guys, let's talk about radical fights. The Boys, yes! Did you guys see The Boys has a new diabolical thing? Yeah, hell yeah, I'm so excited. Larry Elder, Black conservative. Larry Elder is the reason that Gavin Newsom is still in power. My niece was in the January 6th. She's Latina. That's why I said you got to take this at face value, right? A lot of this is hyperbole.
Now they're lying about
Unfortunately,
that shit too.
again, we already talked about
What historically racist demagogues
have
have said to white people, your problem, that America's problem, are those people of color.
You're stronger, you're smarter, you've got more going than anybody, and they try and demean everybody having to do with us, and you're the real people. You're the people that built this nation. You're not the people that tore down our nation.
Did you catch that? Fuck that.
Whether you're talking about a slaveholder or a wealthy white member of the Jim Crow elite or someone like Donald Trump, it was typically these powerful folks who were.
Let me see here. What's your opinion? No, he's not right. I think she's awesome and she would be the first I'm gonna leave that one there because I'm going to offend you if I tell you my opinion of Candace Owens. She literally tried to she's okay, I'll tell you. She's a fucking grifter. She tried to give you people a Freedom phone and buy it. She endorsed a phone while sending a tweet from her iPhone. She doesn't even use the phone, but tried to get all of her followers to buy it. I'm out. That was when I was like, nope. I don't follow what she says because I don't care.
impoverishing struggle economically. But what they were saying to those very same whites was, no, those black folks are to blame.
That's exactly what Trump said. I'm sorry to agree with him, but that is exactly what Trump said. He said, you guys are the founding people here. You weren't the ones burning it down, talking about Black Lives Matter. That is exactly what Trump said. God. Stand back and stand by. Oh, God. All politicians are grifter one way or another. Yes, absolutely.
January 6th was a lashing out against black and brown people for having voted in Joe Biden.
I don't think
treason.
that.
These were traitorous.
I don't think it was lashing out against black and brown people. I don't believe that. I believe it was a manipulation of people that necessarily that believe Trump. I don't think it had to do with race there, right?
Acts
Maybe
to
I'm
assault
wrong,
police
but
officers,
I
and at the
think it
same
was
time
more
calling yourself Blue Lives Matter people,
manipulation of
shows that you never really cared about the police. You just really want to offer a counter argument to Black Lives Matter.
These people talking about the police. It's so fucking funny to see these people like defending the police when they kill this person or kill that person, but when they're at the Capitol, they're like, fuck the police. They become like Ice Cube real quick.
Who are real white supremacists, racists, but so empowered with white privilege that they think that they can take over a hollow house of government, trying to make themselves out to be patriots. You're not patriots. You're ridiculous.
What hurts me about January 6th is not the craziness that I saw white people doing, because I believe
BLM, let me see here. BLM, you gotta remember, there's two different. Wait, what? Okay. BLM is an organization. Yes. The Black Lives Matter movement is different. The organization is absolutely corrupt. There's no doubt about it. Like, I don't care if like you donated money or whatever. It sucks, but unfortunately you got. But like, they were like trained Marxists, which even I don't even care about that. What I care about that is they took so many people's money and bought property in this instead of taking that money and putting it into black neighborhoods, rebuilding in Baltimore, rebuilding in Chicago, giving people food, giving people shelter. All of that money could have done so fucking much. But her needs a place to live? Excuse me, what? You and everybody else. Do you know how much she could have bought a place in middle America for $50,000? It could have been beautiful. She could have spent $100,000 and had a great house. But nope. All of that money gone. Not a single black person helped. BLM organization, absolutely corrupt. Black Lives Matter as a movement, fine. Organization is ridiculous. Oh shit, I entered at the angry time. Sorry. He was not, I seen he was not talking about, he was absolutely talking about that. They're like, just like when he told them, the Proud Boys to stand down, stand by. Like, come on, we're not stupid. He was literally talking about that. I think we can all agree that at least Hillary, yes, thank God, right? Stern still believes that's a lie. What do I believe a lie? Wait, hold on. I'm confused here. What do I believe is a lie? Okay, let's look.
that is them all day and 2 times on Sunday. What really, really upsets me, they didn't even tase white people. If we would have even assembled with the same type of energy that those folks assembled with, and not just them, but the leadership that they have, they would have killed us.
Facts.
Just going back to that day is very emotional. I mean, because the next day, like I had like
The leader of the Proud Boys is black. I think I thought he was Mexican. I could be wrong.
a little mini breakdowns. All of this shit. I mean, COVID and all the protests, being arrested. I was punched in the face in Philly. Had a white man at a protest in the Capitol building. That just put a stamp on it. It's like, holy shit, like I'm fucking mentally drained. And I'm in the bathroom, and I'm sitting and I just felt this wave of emotion.
I can't imagine.
I was mentally,
That would've been terrible.
struggling with the day.
Yeah, Proud Boys don't they call themselves Western chauvinists, if I remember correctly? I could be wrong about that.
So that wave of trauma that you hit that was very physical, how much of it is tied into thinking about what it's like to be black and what you have to face?
Thank you.
A majority of it is tied into that.
Dominica.
Being a black man,
I don't know.
got me arrested on Brooklyn Bridge for just standing there.
I remember.
Because, oh, he's black, he must be one of them. But I have to.
Oh boy, the people. So if that's the case, if we're going to talk about this, right? We're going to actually say that the people who led January 6th were feds. Why can you not entertain the idea that there was absolutely placement of bricks and explosives during the BLM riot? You can't have it one way, right? You have during the BLM stuff in the summer of 2020. You have to entertain the idea that a lot of that was bullshit put on by people that wanted to make it look worse, right? They did their fair part. I'm not saying that. But if you can entertain that idea, you have to entertain both, right? Why would I blacklist you? I'm not going to blacklist you. Just looked it up. He's Afro-Cuban. Yeah, I didn't know that. The feds were involved in everything. I truly believe the feds were involved in everything in some sort of capacity. Yes. I think they want to fuel it, right? They want to add gasoline to the fire. Now, that also begins at the top. Trump manipulated a lot of people. The feds made it worse. These people have to have some sort of agency for going in there also, right? Joe Biden is a real racist. Facts. Yeah, didn't he do the crime bill? I'm pretty sure he did. BLM are corrupt race-baiting organization the U.S. has done. I think you would love Japan. No! The country is very conservative and it's nerd heaven. I bet it is. I like America, right? Like I do. I do, but that doesn't mean I can't criticize it. I think a lot of people in America there's a lot of really ignorant people that will believe anything that Trump says. Unfortunately so. And it sucks because I think for the period that I did like Trump, for what he did for some people, he also did a lot of damage, right? He did, even when that came out that he was helping Black Americans, you had a whole bunch of people that were like, what about us? Like, it just, 1/6 was entrapment. There was definitely not 1/6, but I definitely think they were involved to some capacity. California Democrats recently tried to get voters to repeal a law against discrimination at a state level. And there was also some pretty fucked up bills in Florida recently too. Like they're trying to ban any talk on race. If you can't get to the bottom of anything if you're going to do that whole what is it called? Like not colorblind. Yeah, colorblind. Where if you do that, right? You can't solve anything. We're all Americans. Yeah, I get it. But you also have to be willing to talk about race. And for some reason, it is very, very taboo to talk about it. People are hypersensitive. And I'm not talking just on the right. People are more hypersensitive about it on the left. To be honest with you, if you say anything wrong, that's why I was like, I better be very careful during the stream, right? Like, I better be careful what I said. And then I'm like, fuck it. But as far as race, it's got to be talked about. We talk about race too much. You think? I don't think we ever talk about it. I mean, maybe. I'm trying to think. I'm talking about more in situations like with police brutality and the prison systems. Like we need prison reform so badly. And we've got people like Kamala in power who has admitted to keeping people in prison systems on felony charges for marijuana, fucking weed. You're kidding, right? Like you're kidding, right? Like weed. Like okay, all right. If you say so. Oh boy. You really like Trump's asshole, don't you? If the lie you believe is that Trump was talking only to white people. There are more than white people there. There are many POC. Yes, but he was directly demeaning BLM. Directly demeaning BLM. I absolutely, we had plenty of people say in the chat here that there were POCs there. This guy was there, right? America's obsessed with race and skin color. It's weird from outsiders look. And I think it's just maybe in the past 5 years, because it's always been like, shut the black man up, right? Shut the black person up. Shut him up. Shut him up. Don't let any POC talk. And it's just finally at the point where they're allowed to talk. And I think that's why, right? Proud Boys. See, I did not know that, I don't think. Proud Boys was started to show modern feminist that masculinity is not toxic. White supremacy has zero to do with it. They aren't even all male. I'm pretty sure they have to be all male, don't they? I thought that was like a thing. Like it's a boys club, right? No, the idea of toxic masculinity sometimes is like, there is toxic masculinity. It's raping, it's beating. It's not protection. And there are some modern feminists that take it to a degree that is unfathomable. Like if you think protection or providing or those kind of traits are toxic, what's wrong with you? That's just natural. But there is toxic masculinity, but that if you're gonna be, isn't male a social construct? It is. Well, no. Gender is a social construct. It's a spectrum, but it's also a biological. Wait, is it I always get confused. I'm trying to learn, I swear to God. Okay. Gender is a social construct. Sex is biological. There's toxic femininity as well. Absolutely there is. Them bitches. Yeah, I can't remember which one. I know, like when you look at gender as a spectrum, I think it's easier. Like, because you have very effeminate men going towards the middle, and then very, like strong men going towards the left, and you have very masculine women. And even sometimes to the point of being trans, like Elliot Page. Like, it's a spectrum, and it's a very confusing. And I am sorry if I messed that up. But I am going to wrap up. Gavin McGinnis left the Proud Boys out to dry when it got too hot. Yeah, I think they got in a lot of fights, right? Didn't they get, was it in New York where they got, like, one of them got put behind bars? Or I don't remember. But yeah, I'm not sure. So, all right, guys, I am going to wrap up. I know we got basically to the end, but yeah, this was different, right? This was different, but it was very interesting. I love listening to what you guys have to say. So I love learning, and I love knowing different people's viewpoints, because I think the only way I can learn is through talking to other people and education and stuff. So I really appreciate it, guys. So I will see you next time, and I'll video out later today.